So, it is within. The portal that brought...
It's over, Hermes. In the name of the Convocation, I hereby take Meteion into custody. And setting aside the matter of your nomination, you will come with us too. We require your knowledge to assess and resolve the situation.
Meteion, I am so sorry. Would that I could have listened to your report in full. Reflected upon its meaning and conveyed it to others. That they might reconsider their chosen course. But I have failed. And that wish will never be realized. However, ere our fates become the province of others, I bid you tell me just one thing. Was there happiness in those distant stars? Was there a reason for living?
We conducted our search as per your instructions. We scoured historical records, communed with the spirits of the deceased, heard the final testaments of the dying, welcomed their shadowed hearts into our own. One race had striven to create a world bereft of animosity. They renounced relationships to avoid interpersonal strife, and in so doing brought about societal collapse. One race had renounced war and devoted itself to the enrichment of its people. They were conquered. Though they destroyed the enemy in reprisal, they could not regain their former glory. One race had concluded that finite time was the root of all woes. Aspiring to shatter its shackles, they went in search of infinity. They discovered nothing is infinite, and that neither time or death can be cheated. Disillusioned, they gave up on the future and themselves. One race had discarded all things that gave rise to sorrow, hoping to have only joy. They found joy lost its savor in the absence of sorrow, and lost their will to live. Though worlds apart, these peoples shared a belief. The belief that they had tried their best. That they had tried to fulfill their potential with every step and success. In the course of which, they learned the truth. That they would never be free of fear and sorrow, anger and despair, of loneliness, so long as they yet lived. Even now their souls cry out for oblivion.
to this song of anguish. I lend my voice. We lend our voice. Oh, beloved mankind, shimmering jewels of beautiful Etheris, rejoice, for we will free you from the cruel yoke of existence. There is no need to struggle in vain, for in nihility awaits salvation. You will know peace and serenity, and it will be beautiful. We will make our nest at the edge of the universe, and there in the dark of dead worlds hoard sorrow and suffering. There we will sing, our chorus ever louder and ever clearer, that our song may reach even this ether-shrouded star. Such is the answer we have found in the stars. Such is the gift we now offer to Etheris.
Who are you to decide our fate? To decree we live or die? Have you lost your mind? You heard what she said. She means to destroy us all, yet you'd still take her side?
In the name of the star, we have discarded those creations that we deemed flawed. If we ourselves are flawed, does not stand to reason. We too should be discarded.
That is sophistry, and you know it!
Perhaps it is. Perhaps I am wrong. But who is to say that you are right? Let us settle this with a determination. In my authority as Chief Overseer of Elpis, I will make a judgment on man's fitness to exist. If he can learn to value all life and retain his will to live, even should his end be justified, he will surely find a way to avert his demise. If not, he will perish from the start. As with all determinations, provisions must be made to ensure fairness. Kairos! Awaken!
Memory reconfiguration system Kairos activated. Awaiting instruction.
Command. Universal memory alteration. Target area. Catesis Hyperborea. Starting point. Arrival of Emmett Selk of the Convocation at Propylion. Endpoint. The present. Erase the memories of all events and replace with a vague recollection of the following. I was here, preparing to demonstrate the functionality of Kairos to Emmett Selk and Hitherdays. Meteon's shared consciousness became unstable. She and her sisters could not sustain their existence, and all dissipated with a burst. The resultant shockwave accidentally triggered Kairos, which erased several days of memories from all present. Execute.
Command acknowledged. Initializing. 3 processes remaining to execution.
Bravo. I dare say one would be hard-pressed to make it fairer. Everything that you told us, everything that has happened, the fact we've even met, it will all be gone.
Go, Meteor. To the edge of the universe, where none can reach you.
Hermes, won't you come with me? If you were to shed your flesh, I should be able to carry you.
I will remain. As a man, I will oppose the oblivion you bring.
Silly fool. Had you said yes, I would have granted you the gentlest end.
This ends here!
Fly, Meteor!
That is far enough, Hermes!
Argos, to me!
First process complete. 2 remaining to execution of memory reconfiguration.
As if we needed more pressure. No matter what, you cannot forget what happened today. For it is the key to saving your future. Your world. This fight is our fight. What comes after, our problem to contend with, not yours. No. Your own struggle awaits, and no one else can take your place. You must flee this place with your memories intact, and I will see that you do. Now then, where is it? There you are, my little confluence.
Very well, then. You may elude us this day, but not forever.
Meteon's gotten away.
Second process complete. 1 remaining to execution.
Ugh. No time for brooding. Listen well. Beyond lies a spatial confluence that connects the interior sections of this building. I will destroy the confluence and force open a way outside. When I do, you must jump through.
I cannot tell you how sorry I am. But neither can I let you escape!
Too brave by half. Exemplary work, as always, Emmett Selk.
What? But how? I thought the confluence was... over...
Over there? Yes. We were rather hoping we would.
It was never anywhere but where it is now. The instant those two began making their way towards nothing, 'twas clear the plan was a diversion.
I'm quite incapable of destroying a confluence, I must confess.
A gambit brazen beyond words. Though we've grown accustomed to reckless improvision due to the antics of an incorrigible associate. Though, in the case of certain present company, incorrigible is an understatement. Honestly, I'm beginning to suspect it's a requirement for every Azen. There's no time! Quickly! Even now, I do not believe your tale. I would not suffer us to walk such a wretched path. Still, if it must be said, do not squander it. The legacy I leave you.
Final process complete. Executing universal memory alteration.